Good morning, Lifesavers, and hello to those who are watching us via live stream. Let's hear it one more time for the Beach Band under the direction of Dr. Adam Frederick. On behalf of the Lifesavers Board of Directors and Planning Committee, it is a privilege and honor to welcome all 1,877 of you to beautiful sunny California and to the 2025 Lifesavers National Conference on Roadway Safety. I was officially named the first executive director in the 43-year history of this illustrious organization. I've traveled a rather circuitous road to get here from my very first Lifesavers many years ago, and I couldn't be more excited and humbled. My own traffic safety career began in 2001 when Pam Fisher, who was at AAA at the time, took a chance and hired me. For those of you who don't know Pam, she is a traffic safety champion, and she was Lifesavers' first program coordinator, and she is currently the Senior Director of External Engagement at GHSA. With Pam as my mentor, I learned from one of the best in the field. After leaving AAA, I honed my association management, nonprofit, and conference planning skills to arrive here. Did I mention that I'm thrilled to be here, but even more excited that you're here too? So before we get started, I have a few housekeeping notes to share. So take a moment to locate the nearest exit here in the ballroom. Also be sure to review the Convention Center's emergency plan, which can be found on the Lifesavers mobile app. In the event of an emergency, please follow the directions of the convention staff. Also, if you see anything suspicious, please report it to a Convention Staff Center member or one of the California Office of Traffic Safety volunteers. You can't miss them. They're wearing the bright yellow neon shirts, so we're very happy for that. And finally, if you haven't already done so, please be sure to locate your hotel's emergency exits and review their action plans as well. Now, let's officially kick off our 43rd Annual Lifesavers Conference. Please stand and remove your hats as we welcome the California Highway Patrol Guard, Officer James Helbel, Officer Isabel Diaz, Officer Alfredo Padilla, Officer Ivan Aranda. Immediately following the presentations of colors, the Cal State Long Beach Band will perform the national anthem.
Detail, present, arms. Detail. Right. Haste. Forward. March. Left. Left. Right. Left.
You may be seated. Please join me in thanking the CHP Honor Guard and the Cal State Long Beach Pep Band. Earlier this year, devastating fires ripped through Southern California. Our thoughts and prayers remain with everyone directly impacted, especially our first responders. At this time, I ask all of those here today who were directly involved with and impacted by the fires to please stand. Now, will all active retired law enforcement, first responders, and military stand and be recognized for your service? Thank you. We all believe in celebrating safety. This morning, we take a few minutes to recognize one of the most dedicated groups of lifesavers among us, a group that is very near and dear to my heart, and that's our child passenger safety technician and instructor community. I was a CPS tech and instructor and had the privilege of serving on the CPS board for 7 years, including a term as a CPS board president. It was among the most rewarding work I've ever done, prior to coming to Lifesavers, of course. According to our registration data, we have 461 active CPS members with us here today. If you are a CPS tech or instructor, please raise your hand. We thank you for your passion and commitment. We appreciate all that you do to help families and caregivers keep children safe on the road. Now, please direct your attention to the big screen as we honor the 2025 National Child Passenger Safety Award winners, as recognized by the National Child Passenger Safety Board. Ashley Troud of New Albany, Indiana, is the National Technician of the Year. She is recognized for making a difference, assisting parents and caregivers through her work with the Clark County Health Department. In 2024, she participated in 54 of 61 car seat checks conducted by her agency. Technically, her job doesn't even include child passenger safety. She does this out of her own passion to help educate parents and caregivers. Angel Giffen of Brush, Colorado, is the National Instructor of the Year. She is recognized for her willingness to give the gift of knowledge. Last year, she was the lead instructor for 11 technician certification training courses with 132 participants. In a typical grant cycle, Angel teaches 10 certification training classes. Over the years, she has trained more than 1,000 technicians. Congratulations, Angel. Save Kids, Healthy Amarillo Women is the National Team of the Year. The team, led by Cindy Weena, Barbara Solano-Hale, and Ashley Halstead, marked a milestone in January by assisting with the installation of their 1,000th car seat, a feat accomplished since they started tracking their work on November 1st, 2022. That's about 40 car seats a month during a 25-month period. This small team makes a big impact in the Texas Panhandle. They use grant funds to create and distribute child passenger safety education materials at police and fire departments, courthouses, clinics, hospitals, and child care centers. Team members also make in-home visits to reach people who otherwise cannot get to an appointment. Congratulations, ladies. The National Child Passenger Safety Board presents these awards annually. They're sponsored by Toyota Motor North America. Please visit cpsboard.org/awards to learn more about the National CPS Board's recognition program and to find a list of all of this year's nominees. Thank you once again to today's awardees, Toyota Motor North America, and all CPS technicians and instructors. You are road safety heroes. Because of your work with families across the U.S. today, the future for our children are brighter tomorrow. The Lifesavers Conference is a nonprofit entity that would not happen without the support of our sponsors and exhibitors. We thank these businesses, organizations, and individuals for their support and commitment to saving lives. Please join me now in giving them a well-deserved round of applause. There's a lot of work that goes into putting on this conference. It could not be done without the tireless efforts of our volunteer board and planning committee. Special thanks to our amazing volunteer team who went above and beyond, especially in this last few weeks, rising to every challenge and obstacle presented. Please join me in a well-deserved round of applause for our wonderful volunteers who give their time to make this conference a truly memorable experience. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Nat Beuse, Aurora Chief Safety Officer and Lifesavers Board Secretary, who will MC the remainder of this session. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Good morning, everybody. No, we have to do better than that. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right. Well, we're going to start off this morning with a welcome address from Governor Newsom. So with that, let's hear the governor.
Good morning, everybody, and particularly those of you joining from outside of the state. Welcome to California. We're honored to host this year's Lifesavers Roadway Safety Conference. As a state, as you know, with a lot of miles of roadways. Last time I looked, it was about 386,000 miles. So we know a thing or two about the imperative, the importance of traffic safety. So we look forward to learning from you, from hearing from you, and seeing ultimately the results of this conference as you all share ideas, not just your idealism, your pragmatism to develop new solutions and strategies to help make our roads safer every day. I hope you have a great conference, and I hope in the spirit of former Governor Ronald Reagan, you take a drive along our extraordinary coast, as he used to refer to it, the coast of dreams. Take care, everybody.
Please join me in thanking Governor Newsom for his welcome remarks. All right, I'd now like to introduce someone who I've known for a number of years now, Stephanie Dougherty. Stephanie was appointed Director of the California Office of Traffic Safety in December of 2024. Prior to this appointment, Stephanie served as Deputy Secretary of Transportation, Safety and Enforcement at the California State Transportation Agency, which is where our paths first crossed. At CASA, she was instrumental in the development of programs and policies that support safety, including the coordination of Zero Traffic Fatalities Task Force and the Autonomous Vehicles Strategic Framework. Throughout her career, California state government, Stephanie has demonstrated a strong commitment to public service and highway safety. Please join me in welcoming California OTS Director Stephanie Dougherty to the stage.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to also welcome you to the Lifesavers Conference in beautiful Long Beach. What a wonderful setting for us as we all come together as passionate professionals, as subject matter experts, and advocates working to make our roads safer for everyone. On behalf of the state of California, I'd also like to thank you for being here. Whether you've traveled from near or far, your presence shows a shared commitment to innovation, collaboration, and saving lives on our roads. California is proud to be a recognized leader in this work, and we are very excited to host you. You are here as change makers, representing a range of disciplines and united in a common goal to save lives. By working together, we are driving forward a stronger, more comprehensive approach to traffic safety. Every day, people head out to work. We head out to school, to run errands, to connect with the people and the activities that we love. And getting to our destination safely should never be a concern, no matter how we travel. And yet, too many people suffer preventable injuries or worse in crashes. Every day, approximately 12 people are killed on California roads. That's 12 lives cut short and families forever changed. At the California Office of Traffic Safety, we are taking every possible step to change that. Through safety programs and strong partnerships, we are working toward a future where all people will be safe on California roads. Our work is urgent to us, and we are committed to making sustained change to turn these numbers around. Because, like all of you, we understand that traffic safety is about people, that every single person killed or seriously injured on our roads has a special story, and that there is immense pain to the loved ones who know that person who died or whose life was forever changed. So at the OTS, we are leading the way with programs that create real change. We fund projects that expand safer biking and walking options, that enhance law enforcement efforts, and offer education to promote lasting behavioral changes. Our investments help advance new safety solutions and drive innovation because we want to, and we are bringing meaningful progress towards eliminating deadly and serious injury crashes on our roads. Our public awareness campaigns, they also play a crucial role, from promoting sober driving to eliminating distractions to looking out for and protecting pedestrians and cyclists. These efforts are helping to change behaviors, and they reinforce the importance of making safe choices on the road. At the OTS, our core values guide us: passion, collaboration, inclusion, innovation, and integrity. We are working with a level of urgency that traffic safety deserves. We bring people together and we embrace new ideas because we understand that engaging communities is key to this effort. California's impactful Go Safely movement and Traffic Safety Champions program empowers individuals and organizations to take an active role in fostering a culture of safety, because it will take our collective effort to create a strong road safety culture. At the individual level, we know that every person must and needs to prioritize safety in their daily choices. And at the organizational level, we can create effective policies and programs and have leadership that drives systemic change. We envision a future where safe travel is more than just a goal, where it becomes a shared value that's embedded into our everyday conversations and our everyday actions, where prioritizing everyone's safe return home becomes second nature to all of us. And so we are tackling, and we must tackle, our most pressing traffic safety challenges from multiple angles: safer speeds, safer roads, safer vehicles, and safer behaviors all play a role in reducing serious injuries and fatalities. Through education, enforcement, infrastructure improvements, and emergency response, we can ensure a more comprehensive approach that addresses risks before crashes happen. In California, we have set a bold goal: 0 deaths and serious injuries on our roads by 2050. So we are integrating proactive measures, data-driven strategies, and systemic improvements. And we understand and know that this vision of 0 traffic deaths is not just California's. That is a shared commitment across the nation. Reaching this vision will take all of our collective efforts, all of us working together in a meaningful way. And so here we are at the Lifesavers Conference, where these ideas and efforts converge. It's where ideas turn into action, where partnerships take shape, and solutions come to life. As the host state, we invite you to collaborate and to learn and to be inspired by the new ideas that you can take home. Because together we can make roads safer. Together we can help everyone reach their destination safely. And as we begin what I know will be a jam-packed, information-filled few days of discussion and learning and networking, let's keep people and the safety of people at the center of everything we do. So again, welcome to the Lifesavers Conference, welcome to Long Beach, and welcome to California. Let's get to work. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, California Highway Patrol Commissioner Sean Duryee. He's already up and out of his seat. Sean was appointed Commissioner of the California Highway Patrol in February of 2023. Prior to this appointment, Commissioner Duryee served as Deputy Commissioner, where he maintained direct oversight of the department's day-to-day operations. He has held every rank in the department, from CHP Cadet to Deputy Commissioner. And throughout his remarkable career, Commissioner Duryee has received numerous honors and awards, including the Governor's Employee Safety Award for his efforts to enhance officer safety training. Please join me in welcoming CHP Commissioner Sean Duryee.
I got 10 minutes and 49 seconds. There's a clock up here counting down. I want to publicly thank the officers for the honor guard. I had an old crusty sergeant that told me, "You look so good in uniform, you're an 1125 visual hazard." 1125 is the radio code for a traffic hazard. And so he said, "You look so good, you're a traffic hazard." And so to those young officers, you are an 1125 visual hazard. Thank you. Good morning. It is an honor for me to be here amongst nearly 2,000 attendees, various sectors with a shared and primary focus of improving roadway safety in our country. I know each of you are busy and you have taking this precious time away from your primary responsibilities as a sacrifice. It's also a testament of your commitment to this cause, especially with daylight saving time. I did the math. Some of you from the East Coast, it's like 3 in the morning for you right now, so kudos. Present here today are roadway professionals, subject matter experts from local, state, federal, tribal governments, working in conjunction with the private sector with a common goal to reduce and eventually eliminate traffic collisions and serious injuries and death. Every profession with a stake in traffic safety is represented here today: educators, researchers, transportation planners and engineers, public health, insurance leaders, prosecutors, law enforcement, and EMS. Also represented are probably the group who know this issue far too well and far too intimately, and in a way the rest of us hope that we never learn and understand. And that's the survivors and the advocates. To them, please recognize them. With approximately 40,000 fatal victims each year, there are a few who are exempt from feeling the pain and vulnerability of traffic safety tragedies. To the survivors present today, please know that we stand with you. Each of us work in this industry, grieve alongside you, and the tragedies, the individual tragedies, are what drive each of us to do a little better and to continuously strive to identify and implement strategies that will work. Next month will be 27 years I entered the CHP Academy. It's an honor for me to be an officer serving as the commissioner of the CHP, an organization that was built on core foundation of traffic safety, public service. I remember as a young officer loving the job. I still do, by the way. I love it. It was fun to work the road. It was fun to patrol the highways. It was fun. I enjoyed giving verbal warnings to young kids, often not very much younger than I was at the time. And I remember thinking, I'm convincing them. Something changed with me with teenagers, especially when it came to verbal warnings and seatbelts. I went to my first fatal traffic collision with a teenager, 16-year-old girl who was riding in the back seat of a Toyota RAV4. You don't forget the details. She took off her seatbelt so that she could sleep a little more comfortable. The 18-year-old boy that was driving the car had earlier taken MDMA, a drug commonly known as ecstasy. When he came down off the drug, he fell asleep, flipped his car. My partner and I found that young girl, lifeless body, lying in the center divider of the freeway. I remember that changed me. I was so mad that she wouldn't just wear her seatbelt. It was a totally survivable crash, that she would be here today if she was wearing her seatbelt. I remember telling my partner, I'll never give another verbal warning to a teenager again. If that $60 ticket, non-moving violation in California, will convince them to wear their seatbelt, then I'm going to give them a ticket. At the time, I didn't have any kids. Today, I'm blessed to have 3 amazing daughters, 17, 19, and 21. Daughters give the best hugs. If you don't have girls, I'm sorry, but daughters give the best hugs. Usually they're at these momentous times in their life. Last week, I got one for my 17-year-old. She had just got an opportunity to play in the section finals at the Golden One Arena where the Sacramento Kings play. I'm just pausing there for any Kings fans. One. Okay, we got one. Hearing one, we'll move on. There's nothing like watching your kid compete in something like that. You know, out there playing on the floor where Curry, LeBron, De'Aaron Fox shoot threes. She sunk a couple threes in that game. I was so proud of her. You know what felt better than watching her? The hug she gave me afterwards, saying, Dad, we did that. Thank you. If you need a why to what we do, let it be the hugs of your loved ones at those times. So many are robbed of those experienced by senseless, preventable tragedies. The accident I mentioned earlier in my career involved a driver that was driving under the influence of a controlled substance. As a brand new CHP officer, I was well versed in detecting alcohol, not so good in drugs. That's training that came later. And I missed it. I missed the subtle signs. It was a seasoned officer that showed me that the pupils were dilated so far that I've never recognized that before. That left an impression on me and the need for continued education and training. Today, over 25 years later, the dangers of impaired drivers are plaguing our roadways now more than ever. We have a responsibility to educate ourselves, identify proactive strategies, and equip well-trained officers with the resources necessary to aggressively identify and apprehend intoxicated drivers. I understand one of the goals of this organization is to advocate for public policy that gets to the root of the problem of the issues we're facing. Thank you for this important work you're doing. We need policymakers, we need advocates to drive meaningful change to the continued issues we're facing with DUI, distracted driving, and this reckless driving that seems to become the norm throughout our country. It's out of control, more and more prevalent. I believe there are some of you here today who your work and focus is on engineering and developing new, innovative ways or mirroring known things that work in other countries here in the United States, improvements to roadways that influence driving behavior, limit dangerous intersections, and calm traffic to slower speeds. Yes, your work too is important. Thank you for what you do. To the educators that appeal to the others in a hope to gain an understanding and ultimately voluntary compliance, that's the goal. Your role is critical and is important work too. Thank you for the innovative ways you're constantly using to communicate, inspire. As a parent, I'm especially grateful to those that focus on the message to teenage drivers. Thank you. To the medical professionals, most of us are in awe at the talents and the skills that you have. You are true angels in the eyes of us as you do your work. Your work too is important in this endeavor. To all of you, thank you. There isn't one area of focus that is the panacea that will solve it all. It takes us all, like a basketball team. It's going to take us all playing together to get that done. To my law enforcement friends, I saw when you all stood. You're all in the back and by the door so you can get out easy. There's only 2 of us up in the front. Some of you are sitting there saying, what about us? What about enforcement? I didn't save you for last because you're any more or any less important in this important work we do. I saved you for last to highlight the role that you play and the role you will always play in roadway safety. There are some who hope in a future where law enforcement isn't needed to address dangerous driving behavior and impact roadway safety. I hope for that too. I also believe as long as we have motor vehicles that receive input from human beings, there is a role for law enforcement officers to enforce the law. Our law enforcement officers have each taken an oath. They are willing to lay down their life rather than swerve from the path of duty. They are willing to lay down their life to protect you. If you think that's an embellishment, you guys, I'm giving you some homework tonight. Go on YouTube and Google law enforcement officer takes out a wrong-way driver. You'll find troopers, officers, and deputies throughout the country that are willing to put their car in front of a wrong-way driver that's traveling in excess of freeway speeds to prevent sure tragedy. It's amazing. Unfortunately, our society has a small percentage of people who will not respond to the rules. They simply will not follow them. They will engage in dangerous and risky behavior that puts us all at risk. So yes, there's a critical need for law enforcement and roadway safety. Data shows when enforcement activity slows down, speed, DUI, and crashes creep up. So to the law enforcement present, thank you. May you be protected as you do that important work. Thank you. So despite our diverse areas of expertise, we share a common goal and focus, simply to save lives, to make our states, our country a better place, a safer place, to improve safety. In the spirit of that teamwork, in the spirit of collaboration, use this 2-3 days that you have wisely. Build relationships, share ideas, be collaborative. It's very, very possible that the next best improvement to traffic safety will be born right here in California over the next couple of days. Very, very possible. Thank you for allowing me to play a small role in this event. There are several members of the California Highway Patrol here. If there's anything we can do for you while you're here in California, please do not hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Appreciate that. What a great intro already, right? I mean, the commissioner's statements there, the director, Dougherty's statements there. This is where people need to be to kind of get rejuvenated, right? This is why we do the important work that we do. And I have to say that it is my pleasure next to kind of keep the momentum going, right? So you see a theme. We start out with the pep pan, get everybody acclimated. Law enforcement folks, the commissioner wasn't joking. There's lots of seats up here in the front if you want to come up here. But my task up here is to introduce the next speaker, someone who I've had the opportunity to brief a couple of times on our AV activities. But without further ado, let me get to the script. So it is my pleasure to introduce the California Secretary of Transportation, Toks Omishakin. Toks Omishakin was appointed California's 4th Secretary of Transportation in 2022, giving him oversight of 8 state departments, commissions, and boards. Safety, equity, climate action, and economic prosperity are the core top transportation priorities established for the state. Prior to his appointment as Secretary, Omishakin was Director of the California Department of Transportation, where he and the Caltrans executive team established a new strategic direction for the department, prioritizing partnerships, community, and engagement to accomplish its goals to create a cleaner, safer, more equitable, connected transportation system in California. Omishakin served as the Deputy Commissioner with the Tennessee Department of Transportation and is actually the past chair of AASHTO. Please give a warm welcome to the Secretary, Omishakin.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Nat. So, what have I shared with you this morning that we only have 144 months. 144 months to save 15,000 children. What if I also shared with you that we still only have those same 144 months to save 500,000 people. 500,000 people. Would you have any increased sense of urgency about this work? Would you? I hope so. I want you to put those numbers down real quick. Everybody, go through this quick exercise with me. Take out your phone. Send yourself a text message or a pen and paper, write those numbers down. First number, 144. Second number, 15,000. Third number, 500,000. 500,000. Let me explain these numbers again just briefly, and I'll get to my remarks. 144 months, that's roughly 12 years. That would put us at the halfway point of getting to our goal of, in 25 years, being at Vision Zero. That's our goal, right? Vision Zero, 25 years. 2050. We're in 2025 now. 144 months. The second number, 15,000, we lose roughly 1,200 kids, 14 and under, every year in traffic crashes. 1,200 kids, rather. 1,200 kids every year. And the last number, we know that number all too well. 42,000 people across the whole country. 42,000 across the country. You multiply that number by 12 years, 500,000 people. 500,000 people. We got a lot of work to do. How many people believe we can get there? Yeah, okay, that's good to see. There are people getting it done. There are cities and communities getting it done. I'm going to share with you some of those people, some of those communities that are having a lot of success in getting there. So good morning. Again, my name is Toks Omishakin. I am California's Transportation Secretary. Honored to join you here this morning in the important work that you're doing. Thankful for Governor Newsom's, my boss, his remarks this morning, brief and to the point, and welcoming you to the state. And I'm also thankful for our team that you've heard from already. People like Stephanie Dougherty, recently appointed Director of OTS, our California Highway Patrol Commissioner, Sean Duryee, is also a great leader on the safety front for our state. Tammy McGowan is here from CalSTA. Even my son, Jeremiah Omishakin, has joined this morning. And I'm also thankful to all the departments that work on safety at the state level in California. The Highway Patrol team that the Commissioner recognized already, Caltrans, OTS, all the teams that are leading safety at the state level for California. So, it was mentioned already. We've been making a shift in California from transportation being solely focused on infrastructure to being focused on people. That's what transportation ultimately is about. We are in the people business. And when I talk about this all the time in our state, people say, well, what does that mean? What does it mean you're in the people business? How do you accomplish that? We set 4 priorities that we call our core 4. Our core 4 priorities: safety, equity, climate action, and economic prosperity. If we accomplish these 4 things, we will make transportation what it's supposed to be, about people, lifting up people in our great state. I mentioned the numbers already. We're all too familiar with these numbers. roughly 42,500 to be exact, in 2022, killed on our roadways in traffic crashes across the country. One of the worst years on record by far was the first full year of the pandemic, 2021, where we saw more than 43,000 people killed on our roadways across the country. GHSA recently released some good news on this, just in the last few weeks, and NHTSA. For 2024, there's actually a 4.4% decline in fatalities across the country for 2024, the first 9 months of 2024. So a little bit of good news in reduction in fatalities, overall fatalities for the country. But we can't rest on our laurels. There's a lot of work to be done. And part of the reason why we can't is because even some of the most vulnerable users of our system continue to see increases in fatalities. More than 7,265 to be exact, in 2021. Again, one of the worst years on record for pedestrian fatalities. I believe this was a 15-year high in fatalities for pedestrians in our country. Just think about that for a second. More than 7,000 people on our pedestrians killed on our roadways in 2021. We're seeing some good news again on this front. According to NHTSA and GHSA, some of the latest numbers. A lot of states seeing reductions. What does this look like in California? We, as Director Dougherty mentioned, 12 people every single day, 12 people a day in California die on our transportation system. 12. Overall numbers, 4,428 in 2022. Some of the numbers, again, that we're seeing from NHTSA are showing a decline here for us. We're one of 35 states in the whole country that are seeing declines in our overall fatality numbers based on the first 9 months of 2024. But I mentioned the fact that some people are seeing success, even more dramatic success than we've seen recently. By the way, the number 4,428, that roughly 12 people a day, I mentioned that we're seeing some success here. The success that we're seeing is still nowhere near the prior numbers that we had before. I mean, if you can look back to just a mere 10 years prior, see where we were, how good we were doing, and all the way up here today, within a span of 10 years. Look at this dramatic increase that we've seen. So even though we're seeing declines of like 10 to 12, I think we saw in California a 12.9% decrease in the first 9 months of 2024. That's still nowhere near, again, these kinds of numbers where we were in the 2000s for the entire state of California. So where is this getting done and they're seeing success? The EU is one of the places that we know what they're doing is working. These dramatic drops that you see on the screen have happened just over the span of 20 years, where they were in the 50,000s of fatalities across the entire EU just in the early 2000s. 50,000 number, and you can see some of the dramatic drops that they've seen over the span of just a couple of decades, just 2 decades. We can do the same in America. We can have these same results. Finland is one place that I've had a chance to visit where this example of success is being seen, where they've had no fatalities, 0 fatalities in Norway. In some of the Nordic countries, they've completely eliminated fatalities already on their roadways. We can look at their examples and do some of the same things here in the United States. Solutions. How do we get there? I think my counterparts, my colleagues, the commissioner and Stephanie talked about some of these things already. But we have to understand, continue to understand where the numbers are the highest. This particular graphic comes from the Federal Highway Administration, FHWA, where they share the different crash types as far as the percentages in 2021, the percentages of crash types and what's leading to them, and ultimately the proven countermeasures that can help solve these crashes. So for example, roadway departures accounted for nearly 50% of all fatalities in 2021. What can be done about roadway departures? Median barriers, rumble strips. You see the effectiveness rate actually next to those numbers as well. Another example, Commissioner touched on this, speeding, always a major factor in crashes. It was 29% of all the crashes in 2021. What can be done? Speed safety cameras, variable speed limit signs, things like this have been shown to be effective. And, of course, enforcement, in addition to the things that you see on the screen here. Hoboken, New Jersey. Anybody from New Jersey here? Oh, look at that. Yeah, we got New Jersey in the house. Hoboken, New Jersey. Love sharing this example. Hoboken is less than 60,000 people, only roughly 2 square miles, not a big city. They are now into their 8th year of 0 fatalities. 0, none. Small town, 60,000 people, but what do? There are some people here from New Jersey, they can share the details with you more later. But they've focused on things like complete streets. People are using transit more and more. They've slowed speeds down. There's also the enforcement that's needed in Hoboken. So a great example of helping to get to 0. In 8 years, no fatalities. Quick story. October 17th, 2023, one late evening, on the late evening of that day, 4 young students were standing on Highway 1, the Pacific Coast Highway, not too far from where we are here in Long Beach. The driver of a BMW, according to law enforcement reports, was going 104 miles an hour. 104 miles an hour. Hit 3 parked cars. The parked cars hit 4 young girls who were standing on the side of the highway, on Highway 1. Those 4 young ladies were scheduled to graduate in roughly 8 months. This was October 17, 2023. In May of 2024, they were scheduled to graduate. All 4 young ladies killed, family, friends devastated forever. 104 miles an hour. Why was there a need to be going that fast on that roadway? No need. Young man that was driving the vehicle released, I don't know what the legal side of the case is today, but released with only a few bruises and scratches. We, the state team, said we're not going to sit by and let the city of Malibu and the community of Pepperdine face this challenge by themselves. As you can see on one of the images here, that's Director Dougherty standing in the background, and that's me, Commissioner. Several of us came down within weeks to say, what can we do to help the community? We ran towards this challenge on Pacific Coast Highway that has seen a lot of fatalities, significant amount, over the last decade. Pulled together the Sheriff's Office, City of Malibu, City of Santa Monica, the Supervisor of the county, Supervisor Horvat, State Assembly, even the governor engaged in this. And on the right side of the screen, some of the things that we immediately got put in place, including 3 full-time new CHP officers. You can see from January to June of the very next year after this crash happened, more than 4,800 citations were issued. We did things like striping and warning signs and flashing beacons, on, to address this challenge. Whenever this is happening in your community, you run towards the challenge. Hands on. California's a large state, 40 million people. You heard the governor mention over 300,000 roads. But this is a priority. We ran towards this to try to solve the issue here. And as you can see at the very bottom there, we're going to launch some new programs this year called State Safety Priority Corridors. More details about that, you will probably see it later. Just a couple of more things and then I'll run. Director Dougherty, her office, they're doing a lot of great work as it relates to education, safety education, and enforcement within the state. Record-breaking numbers in funding that they've received to do their work. $150 million in education funding and enforcement support. More than 497 grants, more than 522 applications received in their office. By the way, her office in your state, if you're not from California, is something like the governor's highway safety office. That would be the equivalent of her office. So those are the numbers for us, 150 million. This responsibility that I have is extremely rewarding when I think about the safety focus that we have and the outcomes that we're seeing in our state. The safety focus is broad. It's extremely broad. And these are just some examples. I don't have the time to go into detail on these. Some of the examples of some of the things that we have been doing. The Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Crossing is going to be the largest wildlife crossing in the world. A $100 million investment to go over the 101 highway just about 40 miles west of here. Mountain lions, bobcats, black bears that cross that highway and sometimes can cause safety concerns and safety issues are now going to be protected with a wildlife crossing. Very thankful to the Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Foundation for the work they're doing. The Check to Protect program is also something the OTS and New Motor Vehicle Board are doing. They launched a new website to help people across California know if there's a recall of any part of their vehicle. Any part of their vehicle, there's a website, checktoprotect.org, where people in California can go. There are things like the Takata airbags that have been recalled for years that people don't even know about, that they can go to this website and find out more about. And there are even things like pilot fatigue mitigation regulations that our office, my office, is engaged in addressing as well. So I will run with this. We're going to need an all-of-partnership approach to get there by 2050. This Vision Zero goal that we have, an all-of-partnership approach. Remember that individually, we're but one drop. Individually, we're but one drop. But together, all of us in this room, all the sectors, whether it be health, law enforcement, planners, engineers, together, we're an ocean. We can get this done. Good morning.
Thank you, Secretary Omishakin, for those very awesome remarks. If you're not motivated, more to come. Next, it is my great pleasure to introduce Michel Shane. Michel believes in the power of storytelling to change lives both on the screen and in communities. A visionary entrepreneur with a 3-decade legacy in entertainment and social impact, Michel has seamlessly blended Hollywood success with meaningful advocacy work that transforms communities and indeed saves lives. As founder of Shane Gang Pictures, Michel developed and executive produced blockbuster films including Catch Me If You Can and I, Robot, establishing himself as a formidable creative force in entertainment. His recent award-winning documentary, 21 Miles in Malibu, launched his influential activist career, successfully championing California's Bill 1297, the speed camera legislation for Malibu, and authoring the influential biweekly column, Driving Change in the Malibu Times. In 2010, Michel's 13-year-old daughter was tragically killed by a drunk driver. Michel and his wife co-founded the Michel Shane Foundation in honor of their daughter. One of the foundation's accomplishments is the creation of the Successful Education Achievement Program that provides vital membership and tutoring for struggling middle school students. Today, Michel continues to develop new film and television projects while expanding the reach and impact of the Michel Shane Foundation. Michel is currently developing a gamified learning program for middle and high school students to learn about road safety. Please give a warm welcome to Michel Shane.
Of course, I'm the only one who trips on the stairs coming up here. Wow. I have a whole speech prepared, but a lot of things have been said that kind of have touched me very deeply. I want to ask a quick question, raise of hands. How many people in this room have experienced road fatality deaths? How many of those are children? It's an incredible thing to experience death through road fatality or to experience death of a child. Secretary offered some amazing statistics and a lot of chance for us to change and make things happen. But you have to bring it back to the individual in that when you lose a child, it's not just the death of the child, it's everyone that person has touched. And it's not something you ever figure out how to get over. You can learn how to live with it, and you can learn how to go through life, but it is something you never move on for and becomes part of the core of your life. I, unfortunately, as you heard, lost my youngest daughter, Emily, to a guy who was driving very much like the girls who died from Pepperdine. Driving along PCH on a weekend that was spring break and Easter weekend. My daughter Emily was at a friend's for a sleepover. And we were out, we went to the gym, we did a whole bunch of things. You can tell by this body that we go to the gym. We went to the gym, and when we got home, my wife called Emily to find out how she was doing and what she wanted to do. It's spring break, and the chances were that she was going to beg to sleep over another night. And she said, "No, I want to come home." So Ellen came into my office and told me she wants to come home. And I go, "Can I go in 10 or 15 minutes?" And she said, No, I really think we got to go now. So I said, "Okay, I'll go get her." To this day, I beat myself up that I didn't make Emily wait, because that 1 minute or 2 minutes would have saved her life. But you can't live to change the past. You can only live to change the future. And that's what started us on this road. We started the Michel Shane Foundation. Could you run the clip? We started the Emily Shane Foundation. But before I get into that, this is Emily.
Going first. So next up is Emily Shane dancing to Ceremonies.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't miss that laughter. Next month, it'll be 15 years. The man who killed Emily, we spent 2 years trying to get him convicted. So that was 2 years where we kept reliving her death. And then, after spending 10 more years in prison, plus the 2 what he was held, so he spent 12 years in prison, we spent the next 3 years fighting to keep him in prison. And now we're in the middle of that again, because in a couple weeks, he got paroled. We went to the governor. The governor sent it back to a full parole board to make a decision. And that was just this past Friday. And in 2 weeks from now, the full parole board is going to meet, and they're going to decide. And I'm going to use everything in my power to make sure he stays in prison. And it's not because I'm a vindictive person. When this man killed my daughter, and the EMTs turned to him and said, "You know you killed a child," and please excuse my language, but I'm sure you've all heard it before. He said, "The bitch deserved to die." She was 13 years old. I don't usually break up when I talk about it, but it's been an emotional moment and mourning and listening to the numbers and all the people that have died. And as individuals, we look at these numbers and they're just numbers and, oh, isn't that sad? But if you take it down to a personal level, those numbers stay with you. And they're her friends, and there's all of it. And when we got through the trials, my wife Ellen, who I've had the pleasure of spending the last 38 years with, and as we say, we've survived the worst. There's nothing that could harm our marriage at this point. Everything's survivable because we've lost the most important thing. Ellen had a burning desire to do something, and her burning desire to do something was to create the Emily Shane Foundation C program. And what the C program does is it takes mentor tutors who are college age and matches them with middle school children who are struggling in school, not learning issues, not 504 plans, but just struggling to make things work. Who knows, they've got a problem at home, their parents may have 2 or 3 jobs, English may be their second language, whatever it is, they're just not succeeding. And what the foundation does is we pair them together, and they meet twice a week for an hour, and that mentor tutor is that guy's hero. He's the person. He doesn't judge. He doesn't say, you've got to do this, you got to. He helps. And one of my favorite examples is, when was the last time you were taught how to study? You go to first grade, you're given homework, you go home, and they tell you, do your homework. Wait, no one told me how to do homework. You learn it. So many of us figure it all out, but there are a lot of us that don't. And with the way education is today, where everyone's pushed forward, kind of kicking the can down the road, a lot of kids don't end up learning. So what our program does is brings that person in. They spend this time together. And I really felt that free didn't work. And how do you charge a child? You can't, but you can. And what we charge the child is they have to do a good deed. And that good deed is their entry into the program. And it's entered every time before the beginning of the program, before the beginning of the session. And what happens is that it teaches them they're getting something and they're giving something back. And it helps become a better citizen, and you're changing them at a time when they're very malleable. So it's been a quite incredible program. It started with 3 people in Malibu, and we have now helped over 1,100 students. And I'll share one more quick story, and that is when one child in Oxnard came into the program. She then turned around and graduated, went into high school. We don't track them. And when she graduated high school, she came back to our program as a university student as a mentor. And that said to me, it worked. While Ellen was doing that, I was working on my advocacy, and you've now heard that I helped SB 1297 get passed in Malibu. And I've made my film, 21 Miles in Malibu, and started marketing it literally weeks before the 4 girls in Pepperdine were killed. And the thing that really hit home for us, they were in the side of the road. They were doing nothing wrong, just like Emily. And they became victims. But they became victims that changed where we live. All the things Secretary was talking about have created change of battles that I had been fighting for 10 years prior that no one was listening to because my loss was one person. And it's not to diminish my loss, but when 4 people die, there's a problem. So I'd like to play just a quick clip, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm doing in the future, and I'll wrap it up. Thanks a lot.
Malibu continues to hold the near mythical allure with over 20 miles of pristine Pacific Ocean front.
Malibu is this little oasis where wealthy people and average people get away, relax, and enjoy the natural beauty.
This is a Shumash land, and we decided to make it a glamping experience.
I'm so excited!
Deputies call off a pursuit in Malibu, saying it is simply too dangerous. And then moments later, there was a fiery crash and a man is killed.
The deadly collision happened just after noon and left 2 people dead and 2 others injured. The car is so mangled, I'm told firefighters had to pry the doors open of both cars to reach the bodies inside.
Another terrifying sight, 2 cars collided head-on, sending one of them in the ocean below. The news of the crash has heightened concerns over safety out here. This was the fourth major wreck on this stretch of PCH within the past month.
I'm a taxpayer. I pay taxes just like everyone else, and I resent that PCH isn't safe.
Our main street is the PCH. So is it supposed to be a highway, or is it Malibu's main street with people walking on it? It has a split personality, and people die.
From the past summers, you'll see 750,000 people here, 500,000 people here, on a road that's been used and nothing has been changed since the 50s. This road was never meant to handle that many people. And then you add in the parking, the bicycle, the walking, the deliveries, and you're sitting there waiting for an accident to happen.
Most cities have 2 or 3 miles of the PCH. We have 21 miles. Ultimately, we have a lot more stuff going on, specifically just because we have so much more of it to deal with. And the more people you put on that highway, the more problems we have.
Okay. First responders going to work. Like right in the middle of an interview. So here we got something. Let's see what's coming. I have seen 9 fatal collisions or deaths from this exact spot where I'm standing.
I started patrolling PCH when I first came out to the station in the year 2000. We have a high-speed roadway, even though it's not really supposed to be a high-speed roadway, and you'll have this conflict. And when we say conflict, we mean driveways, intersections, pedestrians. Being in this roadway is the single most dangerous thing you're probably going to do on your vacation.
There's a section of Paradise Cove where people park their cars and they walk down to the beach. It is one of the most dangerous places around. You see people parking their car and opening their door and taking out a baby carriage within inches of traffic going by at 45 miles an hour, usually 55 miles an hour. We finally got permission to put these no parking signs up there, but it took 3 years to get that done.
The family gathered in Malibu today to remember Emily Shane, the teen who was hit by a car and killed as she walked along PCH a year ago today. In their grief-stricken hours after Emily's death, her parents decided to start a Pass It Forward campaign to spread good works in her honor.
Trying to help fix the PCH was definitely part of what they did, but I think they did something even more important. They actually dedicated themselves to this foundation, and the Emily Shane Foundation has become an important part of this community.
We wanted her to survive. We wanted her not to be, who's that poor little girl killed on PCH? We wanted her name to live on and to instill the way she looked at the world in others.
There's barely a person in this country who doesn't have a degree of separation from traffic violence. But on the Pacific Coast Highway, it's preventable if we want to prevent it. Try new ideas. Some are going to fail. And if you still haven't achieved your goal, you're not doing everything you can.
Just a little ways down, that was where my daughter was walking. She was walking where she should be, but it's not safe enough. So something has to be done, not only in this part of PCH, but in other parts as well. I don't want any other family to have to bear the burden of a death that is completely and totally unnecessary. It's tragic, and I don't want anyone else to have to go through this pain.
So you saw the devastation. It was horrible. And what that devastation created was an opportunity. Yes, 700 homes destroyed, lives destroyed. But we have an opportunity right here to reimagine what Malibu could be, because they have to rebuild everything. So the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing and expecting change. So we have to make sure we're not. Unfortunately, I had so much more to tell you, but I'm getting the old sign. So I will wrap it up. I am working on a gamification education program. And as a storyteller, I think it will work, and I'm hoping maybe you'll invite me back. Give me a few more minutes to talk to you, and I'll tell you all about it. All I want to say is that no parent should ever feel the devastation of losing a child. That's a preventable tragedy. And no one should ever have to walk in my shoes. No more lost potential. We have the tools. We have the ability. It's our shame, ours, that we don't save the future, our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, for sharing your story and your powerful work to make the road safer for everyone. I'm Jennifer Smith from StopDistractions.org and a member of the Lifesavers Planning Committee. It is my honor to introduce this year's Mission Moment video. In road safety, we know that data is the main component that our efforts are driven by. Data determines our priorities, our funding, our strategies, yet this data doesn't always adequately capture or convey the emotional toll of crashes upon the victims, their families, and their communities, and why we do what we do. We, the families who have been impacted by these tragedies, are the faces of the issue, the experts by experience, not by choice. These families put a human face on the tragic consequences of crashes and the aftermath they leave behind. They are the most important data we have, and that's where the Mission Moment comes in to remind us of why we're here. This year's Mission Moment is a powerful example of how personal stories of loss and injury in road crashes are making an impact and are driving our efforts collectively. This year, we're sharing a collection of families from here in our host state of California who have been impacted by all types of crashes, and this is just a small sliver of those families. They come from different backgrounds and have different areas of expertise, yet they all have the same goal: preventing anyone else from experiencing the tragedy our families have had to endure. Let this video be our reminder that behind each statistic, there is a story of a father, a mother, a son or a daughter, a brother, a sister, a grandchild, a colleague, a classmate, or a friend whose life was transformed in an instant by these crashes. We want to thank all the families in California and across the nation for your tireless work, sharing your powerful stories and driving the change needed to save lives and to end the road safety crisis in the United States. We see you and we appreciate you. Now I present the 2025 Mission Moment.
So next up is Emily Shane dancing to Ceremonies.
Thank you, Michelle. Pretty heavy stuff, right? It matters. Those are individual people, individual families. You've heard it, but it's worth saying again. Now I'm going to switch to a couple of logistic things. First, yesterday I got to spend some time with our traffic safety scholars. They're all sitting kind of up here in the front. If you don't know much about that program, we get hundreds of applications from across the world, really, to be a special part of Lifesavers. Think of this as the next generation of traffic safety professionals. It is all of our jobs to help them in their career. We spent a little bit of time talking about that yesterday. So if you see them walking around, they have little orange ribbons on their stickers or on their badges. Please come up and say hello to them. I think we all remember doing that first little bit of getting to your foot in the door, getting to know people, getting to help your career along. These are them. Please give them a hand, by the way, because to get in that program is really hard. And they also ask really good questions, so thank you. This year, we're excited to announce a new initiative, Scavenger Hunt. So I think if you know anything about gamifying, that's a term of art these days where everybody's trying to gamify a bunch of things, and so we're going to gamify Lifesavers. And so download the app, and there's little QR codes. There's already a couple clues given out this morning. Everybody wants to get to the top, so please go ahead and do that. One of the things that doesn't get talked about very much is this idea of the golden hour. So the golden hour is kind of after a very serious collision, trying to get people from the crash scene to the hospital. So often, folks that are in that condition actually need blood. There's not enough time for them to actually get to the level 4 trauma center. And so we are doing a thing here where we're actually having a blood drive. And so we are partnering with the Southern California Blood Bank for the first ever Lifesavers blood drive. You can scan the QR code on the flyer that's at the registration desk to pre-register, or just pop into the blood mobile that's outside tomorrow or Tuesday. A bunch of folks have already donated, so thank you for that. All donors will get a sticker, and because it's Girl Scout season, you also get Girl Scout cookies. One of the things that makes Lifesavers special is not just the people that come, but the quality of the workshops. Those workshops are built on feedback from all of you. Please provide feedback. It is one of the ways that we make this event so special, but it's one of the ways in which we keep it relevant. The planning committee looks at all these things every year as we plan the next one, and so please take a few minutes, 5 minutes, to give your review of all the workshops. And speaking of the workshops, all the workshops will begin promptly at 10:30. Please remember that if you have any questions about the event or what's going on, there are folks all around. There's some folks from Stephanie's team with yellow shirts, pretty easy to see. There are other folks walking around. You know, Lifesavers is a very friendly environment. Don't be afraid to tap someone and ask a question. And then last but not least, I need to thank the sponsors, because without them, this gets pretty hard to put on. And also the volunteers. This is almost 100% a volunteer-led effort. And so thank you again to our sponsors, our volunteers. Special thanks to the California OTS for their partnership and their hospitality. Really felt the warm California sun. And they'll be assisting in the workshop, so be sure to say hello and thank them as well. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening to these powerful stories. Hopefully you leave this with a sense of urgency, as the Secretary pointed out, and with the notion that we can actually get this done. Thank you.
New York City, it's cold and it's damp, and all the people dressed like